Well, welcome guys. I'm excited to have you here. I have no idea how this is going to go today, but obviously each event has been very different, and you guys can come closer. I showered today. It's fine. Okay, cool. So this is book stop number 3 for me. And this is probably going to be the weirdest one because I'm not doing a workshop with you guys because we're at a bookstore as opposed to a library. However, what I wanted to do today was kind of, first of all, say thank you for your support. Secondly, do a bit of reading for you guys so that you have an idea about what the book is about. Some of us have already read the book and already let me know what some typos were made, but couple of punctuation issues. But and then I wanted to kind of open this up as a conversation because this is obviously my hometown, and I know that, in the conversations leading up to this particular tour, I'm very aware that there's been such a huge emphasis nationwide recently, especially on mental health. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to come back home and kind of share this, outside of course of the fact that, with my own family events that have been happening surrounding mental health, I feel it's important to be honest and upfront and open about this conversation as opposed to just put a book out and that's it. So I'm listening open corridor, and if you have any questions, by all means, let's have a chat about it. But otherwise, I wanted to introduce you to my new book. Mental Health Sounds Like This. Yay, the crowd goes wild. Okay. Okay. So I'm assuming you guys started reading the acknowledgements already, but I wanted to kind of open up with why this book even became a thing. So if you're reading this book, chances are you already have a deep connection with music. Maybe you sing it, maybe you perform it, or simply can't imagine life without it. Now when I say sing it, I'm not necessarily talking about singing it well, I'm just talking about singing in general. Shower parties, meet parties, totally fine. But have you ever stopped to wonder why music affects you so deeply? What if music isn't just something we listen to or consume? What if it's something we embody? Something that moves through us, shapes us, and even rewires the way we think, feel, and navigate the world. Think back to a time when a song hit you so hard it felt like it was written just for you. Maybe it brought back a flood of memories, made you feel truly seen, or helped you through a dark time. You know the power of music instinctively. However, what if you could harness the power intentionally? What if instead of just listening to music that resonates with you, you could write songs that transform you into the best, most empowered version of yourself? Spoiler alert, you can. What if instead of borrowing other people's words and narratives, you could write your own? What if you could use music not just as an escape, but as a tool to redefine your story, turning pain into power, your mess into melody, your struggles into song? Spoiler alert, you can. And that's exactly what this book is about. By the time you finish reading, you'll know how to use music as a tool to identify, understand, and process your emotions rather than just expressing them. Transform your struggles into songs that empower you rather than define you. Develop a mindset that helps you move forward instead of staying stuck in the mud. Harness your ability to not just rewrite your narrative, but sing that new version of who you're becoming powerfully. Understand the role that melody, harmony, and composition play when it comes to creating the life you want to lead. Because the truth is, the world is already shaping you. Music is already shaping you. The question is, are you the one writing the soundtrack of your life, or are you letting someone else do it for you? So why this book and why now? The world has changed drastically, and so have we. The events of 2020 and beyond have reshaped how we think, feel, and interact with the world. Social media's rise, prolonged isolation, political and social upheaval, and the pressure of constant connectivity have created a storm of stress, anxiety, and disconnection. And I've seen it firsthand. In my work with Gen Alpha, Gen Z, Millennials, and Gen X alike, I've noticed a pattern that's hard to ignore. Emotional exhaustion, heightened overwhelm, and a sense of lost control. Many of my students come to me feeling like they've lost the ability to use their voices effectively. Some say their voices don't resonate, literally and metaphorically, the way that they used to. Others feel unheard, like they're speaking but no one is really listening. At the same time, we're living in a world where digital footprints, algorithms, and curated feeds dictate what we see, think, and believe. It's easy to feel overwhelmed and drowned out by the noise, and that stress seeps into our minds, bodies, and voices. It shapes how we show up for ourselves and for each other. For many, the world feels chaotic and unpredictable, but what if, instead of passively consuming the chaos, we became intentional creators of our own narratives? Music and songwriting can help us take back our power and reclaim our voices. Through intentional practice and creative expression, we can shape our thoughts, our actions, and our lives. After all, our lives aren't defined by what happens to us, they're shaped by how we choose to respond. And by using our voices to tell our stories, we can transform overwhelm into empowerment. That's what this book is about. It's not about using music as an escape, it's about using songwriting as a tool for self-regulation, building emotional resilience, and becoming the best, most empowered versions of ourselves. It's not just about listening to songs that reflect your pain, it's about composing songs that helps you transform that pain into power. It's not about getting lost in the algorithm, it's about taking control of what you put out into the world, because what you create absolutely shapes what you receive. This book is my way of showing you how to use music as a lifeline, a guide, and a blueprint. In a world that often feels overwhelming, music gives us something that no algorithm, government, or crisis can take away: the power to define ourselves. And it's not just about the trauma of our past few years. If you're reading this right now, it's likely that life hasn't always been easy. Maybe you faced loss. Been there. Heartbreak. I've got the t-shirt. Self-doubt. Imposter syndrome is real. Or anxiety. Hello, intrusive 2 a.m. thoughts. Maybe you felt like you didn't belong, or that your voice didn't matter. You've probably heard well-meaning advice like, just move on, be strong, time heals everything, it's not that bad, count your blessings, move on. Or my personal favourite, New Zealandism, harden up. But deep down, you know that's not how healing works. Pain doesn't just vanish because someone tells you it should. Instead, it settles into your body, shapes your thoughts, and shows up in the way you communicate, love, and even speak to yourself. You feel it in the tension in your shoulders, the lump in your throat when you want to speak up but don't, and the ache in your jaw from holding it all in. But here's the thing, you don't have to stay stuck in it. Imagine if instead of carrying that weight in silence, you could turn it into something powerful. Imagine if your pain had a voice, and you could use that voice to fight back and turn adversity into anthems. This book is your blueprint for transformation. Through music, you'll learn how to process your emotions instead of suppressing them, reclaim your voice and sense of self, write a new story, one where you're not just surviving but thriving. Because music isn't just a form of expression, it's a tool for reshaping your reality. As Peter Drucker famously said, the best way to predict the future is to create it. You already have that power. Music is your vehicle. Now it's time to use it. So I can carry on, but I first wanted to kind of give you guys a moment to ask any questions or share any thoughts you have so far on your journey. If you would like. No pressure. Yes?
I really want to get into songwriting. Like,
really?
I want to, yeah. And I wanted to for a long time. Like, I used to write songs when I was like younger, like a teenager. But now I've just got this like emotional and like mental blockage, and I feel like I can't do it, or I wouldn't be good enough, or yeah, like I don't know how to get past that kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, funnily enough, we have a 5-step framework for that transformational process.
Cool.
And literally that's the next part of this chapter. What we could do, if you like, is I could actually run you through, if you're open to it, we could do a bit of an exercise together today to actually see what the process, what the framework looks like and how it feels in a group setting so that you don't feel vulnerable by yourself. Would we be open to that?
I would.
So are we going to be singing or something?
No, you don't have to sing. You can just sort of contribute conversationally, and we can sort of, it doesn't have to take very long, but we can definitely do like an exercise together to sort of look at how we could turn some things into a song. Yeah? Okay, cool. So let's actually talk about what the framework is. The first step is to sit with it. Give yourself permission to feel fully, without judgment or embarrassment, without rushing to move on. Because your greatest weapon and your greatest saboteur lives in the 6 inches between your ears, your brain. And loading it up with shame doesn't help anybody, especially you. Second step is to identify and understand it. Ask, what am I really feeling? Where did this feeling come from? What triggered it? What pattern is playing out? This is where you become the observer of your emotional world, and when you can see it clearly, you can start to lift it. 3, process and work through it. Don't just name the emotion, move through it. Instead of suppressing or avoiding, you'll use melody, rhythm, and lyrics to help the emotion travel through your system. Emotions are simply energy in motion. Music is energy too. Together, they're alchemy. Step 4 is creating the blueprint. Because now you've felt it, named it, and moved through it, what comes next? This is the part where you shape that emotion into something powerful. Your song, a story, a sonic declaration of your resilience, your truth, and your next step. This becomes your roadmap for growth. 5, use your voice. This step is literal and symbolic. Use your voice. Sing it. Speak it. Live it. This is where the healing becomes embodied. It's where your story transforms from an internal whisper into an external roar. Your voice is proof that you're still here, still rising, and still writing the next verse. And I want to kind of really emphasize that. So my husband runs a self-defense school in Bethesda, Maryland, just outside of DC. And one of the things that he is constantly telling his students is that our voice is our first line of defense. Whenever we're feeling in danger or attacked, the very first thing we should be doing, without punching, without even blocking our face, is using our voice to attract attention, to maybe put the attacker off kilter or whatever. But so often we get so nervous about using our voice. And funnily enough, surprisingly to some, men traditionally have a harder time using their voice than women. So, I was teaching one of Veronica's friend's daughters last night how to throw a punch properly, and she was 18, she asked, okay, I was going to help. But one of the things I was telling her was the ability, if you're getting attacked and you need to defend yourself, you need to use your voice. And she shied away and started giggling. I was like, oh, it's so embarrassing to use my voice. Yep, get over it. Write your song unapologetically. Because this isn't just about writing songs. This is about rewriting your story. This is about stepping into your power, realizing that life doesn't just happen to you, you get to happen to life. And it all starts with what you choose to create. So, on that note, let me sing you maybe a song to kind of loosen you up a little bit that I wrote. It's reflected in the book. And then I'm going to give you a prompt related to that song, and then we're going to create a chorus together. How does that sound? Yay! Okay, cool. So the first thing, Veronica, do you have a particular song that you like? No? You do a Coke hangover? Coca-Cola. Calm down, it's okay. What did you say? I chose, okay. So helpful, thank you. So I'm going to sing this song called I Am. It's near the end of the soundtrack, and it's kind of littered in the pages of the book. The reason why I wrote this song, I get very inspired by very different scenarios in my life. Case in point, Veronica, who's in the back there looking embarrassed, we've been best friends since I was 11 years old, and I used to drag her over to my house to write music and to just make up songs. And one day she asked me to write a song about putting a boyfriend on trial when I was 12. So that was kind of the, she's always been an inspirational muse for me, if you will. But it's true, it's true. But as time evolved, I realized that the way that I was writing was not just about my experiences, but also how I viewed myself. And I poured myself into a lot of motivational speeches. And I came across one during the pandemic that suggested that the words "I am" are the two most powerful words in the world. Why? Great question, Jade. Because everything you say after the words "I am" literally dictates how you think, feel, and live your life. It essentially becomes your reality. So we need to be really mindful about the words that we use with ourselves. It's also one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about making sure we use positive parenting and positive education and positive motivation, because you tell someone they use this song for long enough and they start to believe you, right? And you tell someone they're smart long enough and they start to go, oh, I should probably get my good grades there. So I took those words to heart and I wrote this song. Okay, so that's my anthem to myself about who I am. My question to you is, and I will see if I can have some paper in my bag. When you think of, if you were to meet your 5 to 10 year older self, imagine you're sitting across the table from yourself in 10 years. What words of wisdom do you think your future self would impart on your present day self? Whatever's going on in your life right now, whatever struggles or adversities or experiences you've recently overcome or are currently trying to endure and overcome, what kind of words of wisdom or maybe even encouragement or sending flowers might your future self give you? I do not have my paper. Okay. I'll write down my phone. Please, not all at once. My gosh.
I'm just writing mine on my phone.
Okay. Keep going. Okay. Let me write that down. Keep going. Cool.
You're gonna prove people wrong.
You're going to prove people wrong.
Don't doubt yourself.
Don't doubt yourself. I love that.
Embrace the now.
Embrace them now. Think before you act. I'm scared to ask what that means for you. Okay. Yeah.
Be kind to yourself.
Kind to yourself. Okay.
Can I do another one?
If you want,
You're gonna make it through anything.
you're gonna make it through. Cool. Anything else? And you always could? Okay. You're very quiet in this corner. Very quiet in this corner. Do you have any thoughts? Words of wisdom that your future self might tell you?
Future self.
Yeah.
I don't know what he would say.
You don't know what you said? Fair. Okay. I was just thinking this the answer. You up? Oh, okay. So far we've got keep going. You're going to prove yourself. You're going to prove people wrong. Don't doubt yourself. Embrace the now. Think before you act. Be kind to yourself. You're going to make it through, and you always could.
Starts with you.
Starts with you. Okay. You look like you want to say something. Okay, that's all right. Dan, you are a Kimpo fighter, so I'm going to pick on you. Can you please stand up for a minute? So, Dan and I are now UFC fighters.
Okay.
Okay. And we're going to be in the ring together, and we're going to be versing each other, and we're going to actually fight each other. Sorry, that's awkward for you. Okay.
Is there some rules here? What's going on?
No rules, no rules. Okay, so if we're in the UFC ring together, right? Already he's in his fight stance. Okay, thank you. So what we're going to do is he's going to throw a couple of shots at me, but he's not going to do much damage to me, right? He's going to throw like maybe a kidney shot or whatever, right? Not the head shot yet. Calm down. Okay. Just go for point shots right now. Just go for point shots. Okay. So we're throwing shots. We're getting our distance. We're making sure that we're kind of communicating to each other. Okay. I'm gonna hurt you, and I'm gonna get some points on the board. Okay. That's the verse. That's the verse. We're telling a story here. We're sort of kind of lining each other up, getting our distance right. We're making sure that we are, again, getting points on the board. We're kind of getting something across to people, but we're not really doing much damage yet. However, because I put Dan in the spot, he's a little frustrated with me already, so he's going to punch me in the head. Okay. That's the chorus. The punch in the feelings. In case you're not aware of what I'm doing here, this is the point I'm trying to make. I'm here to do you damage. And then I'm going to tell you, and if you knock me out, okay, cool. That's the finish the fight, if you will, otherwise known as the bridge. That analogy works a lot better with teenage boys. Thank you. Thank you. But that's what we're going to do here. So if we're to look at our songwriting endeavor as a UFC fight, we're trying to get points on the board during the verse. We're trying to make our points. But then in case the person hasn't gotten the point, we're going to really accentuate those points with the chorus. That is the punch in the feelings. That is the, really, in case you could not get through your head, this is what I'm trying to tell you. And a bridge is, seriously, dude, you don't understand anything. This is what I'm trying to freaking tell you. That is the finish the fight. So that if we keep that in the back of our minds, now I want to switch gears a little bit and bring out one of our favorite movies, Dude, Where's My Car? Has anybody here not seen Dude, Where's My Car? Well done. You have spared yourself 90 minutes of your lives that you cannot get back. There is one particular scene in Dude, Where's My Car where Ashton Kutcher and what? Yes. What's the guy's name? Ashton Kutcher and Sean William Scott. Thank you, Stifler from American Pie. They're going through the drive-through, an Asian drive-through, and they're making the order. And the woman on the megaphone, after they make the order, replies back with, "And then?" So Ashton Kutcher's character gives a couple more items to add to the order, and the woman on the megaphone replies, "And then?" At this point, he's getting a little bit frustrated, but okay, fine. He will add a couple more things to the order. Her reply, and then, and now he's getting a little bit minced off, so he starts to get a little frustrated. Her response is, and yet he gets even more annoyed, and her response is still, so that's what we're going to do with our songwriting. So if we look at the idea of keep going, what does that actually mean? Keep going, and then what? Keep going what? Keep going the marathon of life? Keep going eating too much sugar? Keep going feeding your alcohol addiction? Keep going, like what does keep going mean? Keep going planting in your garden? What does keep going mean to you? What are your thoughts? Can you put that in a way that actually makes sense? Keep improving what? Keep getting better than before. And then?
Find ways to make yourself a better person. A better you.
How can you be better to you? Okay. To you, for you.
Be a better you.
Be a better you, okay. And then? Don't give up what?
Reaching for your goals and trying to achieve.
Your goals, okay. And then?
Keep your head above water because you can swim.
Okay. Okay. Cool. You're going to prove people wrong. And then, what does that mean?
What did you say?
One more time.
What did you say?
I said, you're going to prove people wrong. What does that mean? And then?
And then you're going to find your passion and live it.
Okay. And then? Hmm? You'll be right? Okay.
Living in a way that's meaningful to you.
Okay. Don't doubt yourself. And then? What does that don't doubt yourself mean? But what does it mean to say don't doubt yourself? Okay? What does it mean to back yourself?
Trust. It's just simple.
Okay. Okay. And then?
Just do it.
What was that?
Just do it.
Just do it? Do you know the story behind Just Do It?
No? No, it's a make one. Oh, is it? Oh, sorry.
It's a what?
Oh, Nike. No, I thought you meant like.
No,
Yeah.
no, the Nike one I'm talking about.
We were on a different one. Yeah.
So Nike got their, this is a complete side note, Nike got their Just Do It thing from watching a guy on death row get executed, and while they were asking the guy on death row if he had any last wishes or last things he wanted to say before he died, his final words were, just do it. And Nike decided that that's a great slogan for a sports company.
Okay.
True story.
Wow.
Okay, embrace the now. And then?
Be present.
What does that mean?
Be present. Get on their level.
Get on.
Get on their level.
Get on whose level?
What's my kids' level? You know.
Hmm?
Get on my kids' level. Get on others' level.
Okay.
Present.
Be present.
Don't look at your phone so much.
Hmm?
Don't look at your phone so much.
Think about the past or the future, just
Okay. Cool. What does it mean to think before you act? Hmm?
let other people do their thing.
Think before you act. Let others do what you think. How is that related?
I can take 5 before, speaking, thinking, before. Consider the fours and against before you actually
Okay.
think of the wider picture.
Okay. I mean, you give the definition, but what does that mean? Like, what does it look like? What does it lead to? Like, what's the end? Pause. And consider the consequences. Okay. And what do you say? Okay. And then? And then? Okay, cool. So, this was a very quick example, but let's see. this. I hope this was weird and fun and kind of strange, and I hope you remember it. Because again, this is like my way of trying to show people that as long as we recognize that yes, we've all been through stuff. I guess one of my favorite Emma-isms, if I can quote myself, is that we take that shit, we turn it into fertilizer, and we plant a garden with it. Because as much as it can feel vulnerable and scary and awkward to express that emotion so that we ourselves heal and overcome and share, there's a lot of power in it. So thank you guys. Any questions? Yes. If you can't play instruments, can you work a computer? Can you access YouTube? Find an instrumental that you like. I often, for the teenagers that I work with, will get them to look up their favorite artists' style beat. So like an Ariana Grande mixed with XXXTentacion style beat, just to be real weird, and then see what they can come up with, and they're right to that. Just be a little bit different. Or you can just make friends with a musician. We need friends. You said something? You're welcome. Yay! My plan is to actually, I was thinking about this the other day, I might actually take the songs that we write on these tour stops, and I might actually record them professionally, record them in an album, release them in an album. I think that'd be fun. Of course. Just let me, I mean, the 3 cents that I get royalty checks, fantastic. It's all yours, baby.
So then we split like 400 ways.
Any other questions? Was this enjoyable?
Yes, so
Cool.
It was really good to see that.
Well, this is just one of the approaches that I talk about in the book. There's obviously more approaches, but yeah, I wanted to kind of give people an overview of like how this actually gets put into practice. Because reading about it was that knowledge is power, applied knowledge is unbreakable. So being able to sort of go through those steps, I think, is really quite fun. Yeah.
How do you think, how would you describe your evolution from when you first realised that you wanted to make music, which is obviously drama schools, but between then and what sort of phases have you been through, like in terms of what's important, what influences new styles that we
I feel like those are 3 questions. So, the evolution. At 5, I wanted to be a pop star, a counsellor because of mum, a teacher, a mother, and a fashion designer. That obviously didn't feel connected at all back then, but I think my 5-year-old self was onto something. She just didn't know it yet. Cut to when I was 19 and my ex-boyfriend Andrew committed suicide. I remember driving to his funeral thinking I wanted to do anything I could with music to help him, to help people not commit suicide. But at that point, I was so focused on my own music that I didn't, I was like, I'll just write about suicide, maybe it'll help people. And it did, we started a lot of conversations when I was on tour and things, but it was still very ego-centered at that point. Then cut to when Fraser passed away, when I was 20 at that point. I think it refueled my desire to help people with music because he was a phenomenal drummer that just didn't leave Hamilton. And I was like, I want to live every day on purpose, completely, like don't take anything for granted, so on and so forth. But again, I realized that was still me being very ego-centered. And I was still writing a lot of music about my stuck in the muckness. When it got to the point of me starting Static Era, that's when I had the aha moment of, oh, I can start to write my way out of being stuck in the muck. I can start creating a way, and that's how I wrote Fire Away with Chris. Was like, okay, shit's weird. How can I make better decisions? That was my song Dear Me. That was like all of that stuff that we did with Static Era was very much me trying to practice me writing my way out of my negative headspace. And then when I moved to the States and started teaching in DC back in 2019, my student actually turned around and said, I want to do what you do. I want to write music and sing music and record music and release music, etc. We only did one song together, but that's how I was like, oh, this is a 12-year-old young man who doesn't know who he wants to be or what he wants to. So I was like, okay, well maybe I can help him write a song to kind of honor the muck and then help him move out of that. And that's through that and a number of conversations I had with a bunch of therapist friends of mine, author friends of mine, coach friends of mine, obviously my husband being very forward thinking. That's how I've kind of evolved into thinking, okay, actually this isn't just me making stuff up, there's actual science behind how this works. There's a methodology behind how this can work. There's actual like evidence with all my clients to show that it works. So that's kind of an evolution for me, and I'm still very cognizant that I need to continue to lead by example because what I do is so different to the norm when it comes to coaching or, you know, empowerment work, or I don't want to say therapy because I'm not a therapist, but you know, that kind of approach, because my approach is so different, especially in the States. I want to make sure I'm still leading by example. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
There were two other questions, I can't remember what they were.
So, well, how would you see yourself evolving moving forward? Are there sort of other goals that you feel like you would aspire to, but you're not ready to tackle those yet because you've got to spend more time consolidating and doing first or that sort of thing?
One of the things that I have realized over the last 5 years is the saying that when man plans, God laughs. Because every time I've made a plan, something better has happened. That is like that I hadn't even thought was even possible. I told DJ before we got married, way before we even got engaged, that I wanted to get public speaking just because I didn't want to pass the rest of my life. And 2 days later, I got a call. Tell me you're in Hamilton, I'm telling you you're in Hamilton. 2 days later, I get a call from TEDx asking if I can do a TEDx talk. So, like, it's just things like that that have just constantly come up in my life, and to kind of show that I was dreaming big, but I wasn't dreaming big enough. But in saying that, my WIG, or my wildly improbable goal, is that I want to completely turn around and disrupt the education system in America. And I want to use strategies like creative thought, introducing CBT practices and cognitive reframing practices into music and English classes to help just twist and shift how American classrooms are teaching their young people, because so many young people are disengaged and not feeling excited about learning. And every time I teach at a middle school or a high school in Maryland, I have to like really showcase, actually what I'm teaching you right now is math. Actually what I'm teaching you right now is rhyme, rhythm, poetry, communication, team building skills, like all this stuff that people take for granted when it comes to music and songwriting. So I really like, my wild and improbable goal is to disrupt the education system in America. And I will say that I am partnering with an organization this summer that does have a number of public schools across the country to deliver this kind of programming to and help sort of deliver, like, I don't know, copyright my approach and then help them kind of spread that into the school system. What are they called? I can't remember the name of the organisation off the top of my head, but they're really big. They've like partnered with people like John Legend and a whole bunch of like Grammy award-winning artists to deliver a whole bunch of programming in schools, and so it's really cool when I get to maybe contribute just something to help that conversation along a little bit. Yeah.
I can see how the writing process also just nicely fit along narrative therapy as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like reauthoring of identity.
Good, I'm glad. So I'm not talking complete shit. Therapist.
Words shaping identity.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Great. Anything you want to ask? Brayden, any thoughts? That's cool. Okay. Well, thank you guys for being here. I really appreciate you guys coming and hanging out, and we can go get a beer now.